Hello folks, welcome to the channel 3 Basket Living. My name's Tom. What we're going to do today, we're going to discuss the cleaning procedures of the Berkey gravity water filtration system. The cleaning procedures which I'm going to try to discourage you from doing, if at all possible. I'm also going to cover why I believe and why I think that Berkey and probably Alexapure are lying, or at least withholding truth from us about the lifespan of their filters. I'm going to show you a live chat conversation that I had with Berkey representative themselves, and I'm going to go step by step on how I go about cleaning my filter system in my Black Berkey composite carbon filters. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to discuss a little bit is about why I think they are withholding the truth about the lifespan and capabilities of these filters. We have to understand Berkey, Alexapure, that they're in business. And in today's times, it is intentional to design, engineer, or especially program things to fail at a certain rate or a certain time frame. That is all intentional, because if things were continued to be built to last for a longer length of time with the same amount of cost, probably start struggling as a business. Because if you're not selling a product or service on a continuous basis, then the business is probably not going to survive. So keep that in mind. Berkey came and said that their lifespan on their Black Berkey carbon composite filters is up to 3,000 gallons of water. Alexapure, following behind, come out and said that their filters will filter 5,000 gallons of water per filter. Here's what I think is happening. Okay, it's just business tactics. It's just propaganda because they want to continue to sell product. So Alexapure comes out and says 5,000 gallons of water, probably to make themselves look a little bit better than Berkey, because they got to compete with Berkey. But in doing so, they will have fewer sales or repeat sales of their replacement filters, because they can go 5,000 gallons of water as opposed to Berkey's 3,000 gallons. Berkey will have more sales in replacement filters than Alexapure, because they only claim that 3,000 gallons. But Alexapure compensates for that claim of 5,000 gallons by the increase in price of the replacement filters. And I believe that still stands true today. Their filters will cost you more to replace. We got that aside. I believe it's just business, okay? And their approach to selling us replacement filters at a frequency that is comfortable for them. So now we're going to go into the step-by-step cleaning of the Berkey system themselves, which I believe is the best, absolute best way to go about cleaning your Berkey filters and system. And here's how we go about doing it. Okay, we're going to remove the lid and we're going to set it aside. First thing we want to do, okay, before we start doing this, we want to filter the water if we can. This is what I recommend. And then collect that water into a container, or a good majority of it. All right? Then you want to fill your Berkey back up if it's still functional, but maybe just slow, and get the water to, in the lower chamber, up to about 3/4 of the way full. All right? That's what I've done already. So now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove my upper chamber here. And I'm going to dump any residual water out. And I'm just going to kind of set it right here. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I am going to take me some white distilled vinegar. Okay? And I'm going to put me approximately, I'm going to call it about 6 or 7 cups. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring me out a pot here. I recommend getting the smallest pot possible, but big enough to accommodate this upper chamber. I'm going to take this filtered water here that we collected before our cleaning process started, and I'm going to fill this pot, and that puts this pot here at approximately halfway full. Set this to the side. Now I'm going to put me about 4.5 cups of white distilled vinegar in here. Just like that. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my black filters, take the wing nut off, make sure the washer comes with it. I'm going to put my wing nut on here just to keep my pieces together. I'm going to drop this with the nipple side up in this vinegar water solution that I have going on in the lower chamber here. If there's a little air in the filters, once they went dry, they may have a little buoyancy to them and they'll float. But as the air escapes out of the nipple of the black filter, they'll just settle down and sit upright in the chamber. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to take my plugs off here. Make sure I got my washers collected, put them back. I'm going to keep everything together. Put the wing nut on. I'm going to drop it in there, in that vinegar water solution. Just like that. Now I'm going to take my upper chamber here, which will have a lot of deposits and lime buildup for us on our well water. And I'm going to just let it sink here in this pot of vinegar water solution. We got the 4 holes at the bottom of the upper chamber here, and now it just sits. So I will set that aside. Now this is a good time, in either one, if you have other items in your household that collect lime deposit buildup, any kind of mineral deposits, like your kitchen sink, your bathroom sink, your little sprayer nozzles, and put them in the vinegar water solution at this time so you can knock it out all at once. It's a good time to do that. Now that we are here at this point, for the chambers themselves, we get a pretty heavy lime buildup, okay, in both chambers. All right, I'll discuss that in a minute. So with the chambers themselves on this stainless steel and this vinegar water solution, it usually takes about 15 minutes of just sitting there for all that lime to dissolve and dissipate into the water vinegar solution. Now, because we don't have a full chamber full here in this pot here, what I will do is I will take my hand, I will take a strong piece of paper towel or a soft sponge or a soft cloth, and what I want to do in here with the scale on the side walls of my upper chamber, I just want to dampen. I'm not trying to scrub or anything. I just want to dampen, keep that scale and lime buildup wet. And I will do that 3 or 4 times during this soaking process. In here, in the lower chamber, I'm not worried about it because it's pretty much full. If I'm not completely full, all I got to do is add some more water to it or vinegar. Typically the water. Now, this I let set for approximately 30 minutes. With our amount of lime buildup that we get, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for these filters to soak in this vinegar water solution. So during this process here, I'll come through 3 or 4 times during this soaking process, and I will agitate these filters up and down, and I will grab this nipple here and I'll just rotate with my fingers back and forth, okay, after about the first 10 minutes of soaking. And what you're going to see all those deposits and lime built up on the outer portions of that filter just dissipate into the solution of vinegar and water 3 or 4 times, and it'll take about 20 to 30 minutes of soaking. At this point, I want to discuss a little bit about Berkey's recommended cleaning procedures. I do not represent Berkey. I do not represent Alexa Pure, and I do not represent New Millennium Concepts Ltd., which I believe is the manufacturer of the Black Berkey filters. I do not represent anybody. These are my suggestions and my recommendations. I have a little prop here, okay, and I have a piece of Scotch-Brite pad. Mine is the brown. It's not the green. This little prop here of toilet paper rolls represents on a microscopic level the pores in our filters. Okay, so we have a surface here. And if we take something as abrasive as a Scotch-Brite pad, and it is abrasive, okay, because when you use it on your stainless steel and you got clear, clean water in there, you can clearly see the scratches that it creates in the finish of your stainless steel metal. It's abrasive, okay, but it's meant to be for the cleaning process as Berkey recommends. But when you do that and you go against those filters, number one, these filter pads, or not these filter pads, these Scotch-Brite pads will wear down and they will break apart and have small microscopic particles that are going to come off your pad. Number one, those particles are going to enter in your filter because they recommend putting downward pressure and just scrubbing back and forth. And that is, with that downward pressure, we are just going to take any deposits and anything coming off our pad with that downward pressure and cram it in microscopically into our pores. I believe that. Now, they say to do it under running water, and some of that, a lot of that's going to just wash away. But you're using your running water that you're trying to filter to begin with, I don't recommend it. The other thing we do is that these microscopic pores or cells, just like in a beehive, the honeycomb in a beehive, or the structural panels that utilize composite or aluminum honeycomb for structural panels in like aircraft. When you come across that stuff with that downward pressure, we are displacing and we are disrupting the cell walls of those pores. Now they will either fold over or they will break off, and with that downward pressure, we are potentially cramming more media or contaminants into the pores themselves. That's why I disagree with it. Now they do suggest utilizing the smaller tan rubber washer that they give you for your filters so that you can stick them under your faucet and do reverse flow. And I believe some of that reverse flow under that pressure is going to clean out those pores that we may have crammed down. I don't believe it to clean out all of it. I really don't. I have never had my filters going by the Berkey recommended cleaning procedures. I've never had my filters operate like they did when they were brand new. I've never had that flow rate be to the same as when they were brand new, and I never had that flow rate maintain a higher flow for that length of time. It always seemed to shorten, but not no more, not with this procedure. That's why I don't recommend using Scotch-Brite pad. The soft bristle brush I recommend, or just your hand, because the ridges on your palm and your fingers, that's how we get our fingerprints and palm prints off our hand, is plenty abrasive enough if you do any kind of rubbing. With this procedure, I do none to very, very little. And I don't do it under my running water that I want to filter to begin with. I will do it in here and pick my filters up, and I can do this or take that soft toothbrush and just brush down and agitate it. It will dissipate into the water vinegar solution. So next, after I've already dampened everything down, and it's been 15 minutes in my upper chamber here, all right? And I'll just do one last little rinse down with my hand, rubbing it off, and down at the bottom, any lime buildup, mineral deposits that are built up down at the bottom, they just wipe away with your mere fingers, okay? Once that takes place, I'm going to grab me, I got me a piece of little paper towel here that I can wipe up down if I want to. I'm going to just gently lift this up. You'll see it's all going to come through them 4 holes at the bottom of the upper chamber. Let that drain out. I'll take any residual, pour it in there, swash it around, and this is done. Now if I want to wipe it out with this little paper towel, something soft, not abrasive, because you don't want to scar up your finish on your Berkey year after year, cleaning after cleaning. It's going to look pretty bad, okay? You can wipe it down. But this here is done. This is a good time. If you want to wipe your lid down, you can do that with your vinegar water solution. And it's done. I'm going to set this to the side. Now, at this point in time, because I got a little bit longer, I'm going to be waiting on this, okay? I'm going to share with you the conversation that I had with Berkey Filters, online live chat. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give them one last final opportunity to debunk my cleaning procedure for my Berkey filter system, or to give me an explanation and tell me how distilled white vinegar damages the Black Berkey filters. So we're going to watch that, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And you're going to probably get shocked, or at least a little surprised, at some of their suggestions that they give me for the extensive lime buildup on my filters. I want to record this. I am on berkeyfilters.com website. And I got their chat function going on here that I'm moving around. I'm going to try to focus in on this. My question to them right here is that I am looking for any warnings or suggested solutions for the lime buildup on the filters to ensure that our current procedures do not have any negative effect on the filters themselves. Not worried about the stainless chambers, I am using distilled white vinegar to soak the filters in and then running a cycle or two through the filters to remove any vinegar taste before drinking. Again, any precautions to using vinegar on or through the filters? Thanks. And then I've been waiting here for, a long time. Probably 20-30 minutes. I finally get a response from them. They say, hello, thank you for contacting Berkey Filters. I sincerely apologize for the wait. We do not recommend using any vinegar or other cleaning agents on the black filters. If you have significant buildup on the exterior of the filters that is not removed with the general cleaning recommendation, you may remove a full outer layer of the black filters using a vegetable peeler, just as you would the skin of a potato or carrot. This can be done up to 20 times within the filter lifespan if needed, without affecting filtration capabilities. I just said, wow, really? You can peel them? Because I had no idea. What is the effect of the vinegar on the filter? So they have now responded back. The filters are very absorbent. So when vinegar is used, it is not recognized as a contaminant and will make the water taste like vinegar in most cases. Okay? I get that. So if I flush these filters, I should be okay. So the vinegar doesn't deteriorate. I'm going to ask this question. But man, they're taking a long time to get back with me. The reason I'm doing this, because that shocked me. We'll see what they say. She's not saying it breaks down the carbon composite material. She's saying it absorbs it. And that's what I wanted to point out. That I'm not kidding about this response here. And I'm hoping I'm close enough here. Looks like she's typing. I'm telling them what I'm doing. I'm actually doing reverse flow on my filters, and I'm going to be showing that. I know that, but I want to capture this chat here with the Berkey Filter Support Representative. Okay. We have not received any information from the manufacturer regarding deterioration from the use of vinegar. However, the use of cleaning agents, including vinegar on the filters, will void the 2-year prorated warranty. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. I'm going to say, I got to see the response on this. That's interesting. that you can use bleach within the system, put in bleach water, and the filters come in contact with. I'll have to research that and look at that again. Well, water can be a cleaning agent. Bleach is a cleaning agent. She stopped typing here. Let me pull back. I need to get to the top. This is the website that I'm on, berkeyfilters.com, and let me bring it back here. Looks like she's typing again, or he. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Guess I better assume. It doesn't matter. It's a representative from Berkey Filters. Okay, diluted bleach, 16 drops per gallon of water, is recommended for sterilization, as well as pre-treating more questionable water sources. This small amount would be recognized during filtration as a contaminant and removed from the water by the black filters during filtration. I'm not satisfied with that answer. I'll just say thank you for your time. So I'm comfortable with what I'm doing and the way I go about cleaning my filters. Anyway, I don't see anything here suggesting that it breaks down. That's what we're going to go with. I'm comfortable with the way I'm cleaning. I'm going to sign off here, folks. There you go. What'd you think about that? Now, they could not discredit my cleaning procedures. All they did was tell me their recommended procedures. But remember, we talked about why they're saying 3,000 gallons per filter, or Alexa Peter saying 5,000 gallons. It's about themselves, okay? Because if these things were able to be proven to go 10,000, 20,000, maybe 30,000 gallons of water per filter, imagine what that's going to do to the business. The sales of the replacement filters are going to plummet. That's going to hurt the business. Keep that in mind. So, their only concern was that the vinegar tasting water that you're going to get. That may be true if you take brand new filters or dry filters and you utilize the white distilled vinegar in flushing them. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't tested that theory. But they could not claim, and the manufacturer could not claim, that the white distilled vinegar does any harm to the filters themselves. They're only worried about the taste. Now, when we go through these procedures, we eliminate that taste. Okay? We eliminate any vinegar at all. And I'm going to show you how I do that. But what do you think about taking the vegetable peeler to your Berkey filters? Now, I will tell you that I took a cucumber fresh out of the garden and I peeled it. I got 10 strips out of that one cucumber. And I measured those 10 strips. And they measured out to be compressed with my fingers a little bit, approximately 9/16 or 1/2 inch, I'll call it, for those 10 strips. That represented 10 shavings. And they say 20 times you can do that. That would be pretty close to an inch. An inch in. There would be hardly no filter left. So I'm going to say a 1/2 inch in throughout the whole diameter, outside diameter of this filter can be taken with a peeler. How much filter is that going to leave us? And it not affect the filtration capabilities. I thought that was amazing because you're not going to hear and you're not going to see that anywhere else on their website or any video or anything. I haven't been able to find it. That's why I wanted to record it and share that with you. It has been over 30 minutes, all right? And I have nothing on my filters. I'm quite comfortable. One last agitation, and we're good there. Now, I'm going to take my upper chamber here. This is a good time to remove all your screens from your faucets if you place anything in there. Just remember, don't put a bunch of stuff in there that might scratch or cause damage to your black filters. I'm going to reach in here. I took that little bit of water out because my hand going in there displaces the water, and I didn't want to overflow. So, if you need a little rubbing and scrubbing on these things, go ahead and do that at this time in your vinegar water solution. So let's put the plugs on. Righty-tighty, calibrated fingers, good and tight. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take our black filters out. I'm going to give one last spin. If you want to do any light brushing, if you feel it's necessary, or let them soak a little longer, okay, you do so now. All right, you can brush off if you need to take your hands and doing very light rubbing. Just dip and spin like so. Take the wing nut off. Now, I am not going to install my filters properly here. I'm going to install them backwards. You see where I'm going with this, huh? Oh, there's more. Stay tuned. Now, during this procedure, I recommend keeping your filters wet. Now I have that. Now what I'm going to do, the next step, is I'm going to start draining this water. Now I could just pick this thing up and dump it, go dump it in the driveway or the sink, but I'm going to go through the spigot here because I want this vinegar water solution going through my spigot because while it's doing so, it's under some pressure provided by gravity, and it's going to dissolve any lime or mineral deposits that's building up internally into my spigot. It seems to work for me quite well. I at least want to get a good bit of it doing that. Now I'll just take the rest and I'll just dump it in. Set this back up, okay? In doing so, when we took the filters out, rubbing the inside and everything will just break loose around the spigot, cleaning with my hands or a paper towel and just loosen it all up. It drains right out. Now, next step is we are going to take this upper chamber, put it on the lower chamber. Here's a big thing. I have a little bit of vinegar left, okay? And I'm going to utilize it. I'm just using 1 gallon. That's probably about 2 1/4 cups there, you know. So if I'm taking a guess, I'm going to guess somewhere about 2 1/2 cups of vinegar. Doesn't need to be much. All right. Now, another big key component, distilled water. This is huge, okay? I'm not filling it up with tap water. I'm going to do reverse flow with the cleanest water available. And I'm going to use 2 gallons. It's all the way to the top. I'm good there. I'm going to put the lid on. And now we're going to let this reverse flow. The importance of the distilled water. Distilled water is the cleanest water that we can obtain. There is no cleaner water. We don't want to use our filtered water. We don't want to use the water source that we're trying to filter to begin with in this process here. So we have the filters down below and they're in reverse. We have gravity working in our favor, so we get a little pressure, okay, to do a reverse flow to possibly push anything out that might be in those microscopic pores. We don't scrub our filters. We're not encouraging things to be jammed or crammed down into the pores of those filters. What the distilled water is basically the clean, pure, or what they call empty water. We have a water molecule, 2 hydrogen atoms attached to 1 oxygen atom. Those hydrogen atoms, they assemble themselves on one side of the oxygen atom. And in doing so, they have a positive pole charge. And on the opposite side of that oxygen atom, we have a negative pole. Think of it like a magnet. And using distilled water, along with a little bit more vinegar, because I want this vinegar to travel through, and I want this distilled water to travel through the entirety of my filters. Vinegar, for obvious reasons, to dissolve any possible lime or mineral content that is trapped inside the filters. I know it's in there because I don't just get lime buildup in my upper chamber. It also comes down to the lower chamber. Not as much, but it's there. And the only way that takes place is it's going through my filters. because I'm not pouring it in there, and my filters are on always tight enough, and I don't have no leakage through my gaskets. So now we got this stuff flowing throughout the filter, and those water molecules that are clean, that have nothing attached to them, they're acting like little magnets, and opposites attract. Take two magnets, take a positive pole and a negative pole of two magnets, and what happens? They pull together. So that's what's happening to all the particulates and any contamination within the filter, attaching themselves to the water molecule and being pulled out of the filter into the lower chamber. Another example of this would be, I'm going to pour a little bit of water here on my countertop, okay? I'm going to take, I got a very wet paper towel here, and then I got a very dry one. These represent water molecules. You can look at it this way. If I take the wet one, it's already full of water, and I'm trying to clean up the water here. I don't get a very good effect with a water molecule that's already filled with minerals, nutrients, contaminants, or any type of chemical. It doesn't absorb anymore. But with a dry one, one that's clean or empty, I put that on my water here, and it just binds to it, it soaks it up. And I can also come over here and finish up over here because I have a dry, quicker picker-upper. Remember that? So that can kind of help you give an understanding, I hope, of how those distilled water molecules, which is empty, they don't have anything attached to them. When they go through these filters, they're going to start collecting. Okay, things are going to be attracted to one another. The positive poles to the negative poles and vice versa, and they're going to pull it through your filters. Think about it. It's just common sense and science. So now, this is going to take me approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours for this to cycle through. As it does, once it gets up to about halfway, I usually grab my pitcher and I start filtering out. And once it's done and complete, we don't want to take this water and drink it, because just as the video chat discussed a little bit, it's going to taste like vinegar. Well, duh, we're not going to drink that. We're cycling through our filters anyway after our cleaning. I hope you are. So we're going to discard that. Okay, it has been about an hour and 45 minutes now, okay, that we let this go through. So now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to take advantage of this distilled water and this vinegar, and I'm going to let it go through my spigot, at least a good bit of it, to dissolve any mineral deposits that are built up on my spigot. I know what happens because I get a little bit of lime on the outer edge of my spigot where the water comes out. Next, the lid off. We're going to discard any remaining residual water in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to efficiently take our filters off and put them on correctly the right way. These filters, folks, doing this cleaning process like this, it's going to be like having brand new filters. Now we're going to discard just a little bit remaining water in here. You do not have to discard that in the sink. We're going to put this upper chamber back on here. Now at this point, we're going to start filtering our water. Put the lid on. Now we obviously didn't drink our first cycle in reverse flow. We discard that or utilize it elsewhere, like I do in the driveway. Now we filled it up, and we're going to run a complete cycle through the filters, again, in the proper direction, and it's going to fill up, and we're going to discard that. And then from that point on, we do not have any hint of vinegar, smell, or taste. Folks, this is the best way to go about it. I hope you can see and the clarity of doing this, and I believe that we can probably get way more lifespan out of these filters if taken care of properly by doing it this way. Now, if we're in the field or we're in some situation where we can't have access to distilled water or the vinegar, using distilled water alone will probably be beneficial without the vinegar if you have the means to make it or obtain it yourself. But then, if we don't, we may have to go through the cleaning process as Berkey suggests. You know, we got to do what we got to do. But understanding also you have the ability, according to them, to peel those things up to 20 times and not affect the capabilities of the filter to filter out everything that they claim. I hope you got something out of it. I hope some of you folks, all of you folks, please share this video with somebody else or share the information itself. Okay? Have a great day. May all your branches become full of fruit, and I will see you next time. Whoop! Right on.